Iraq War veteran had given up on life, but then a kitty behind the bushes changed his life forever. After coming across this tale of Iraq War veteran Josh Marino, who had given up on life, one will start to think about the relationship that animals or pets have with the human species. One really doesn't know how a sudden encounter with someone can change one's life in an instant. Josh was distracted by the sounds he heard coming from the nearby bushes. His firm thoughts and disturbed mental health all stood still when those voices interrupted. He carefully heard the following noises. It looked like that of some animal, maybe. He steps forward to see who it was, and what he found had him worrying. He saw eyes peeping through behind the bushes. Initially, he was lost in the gleaming eyes. Probably it was this creature that was making those noises. As he stepped forward to see what it was, he was taken aback. The creature had drawn all his attention towards him. What was the matter? Josh Marino was a resident of Pittsburgh. He left his education midway just to pursue his passion for serving the country. He always wanted to join the U.S. Army and stand with his nation. However, back then he had no clue that being a soldier comes with a lot of responsibilities and drawbacks. It was in 2001 that Josh left his house to join the military. His parents tried to convince him to rethink his decision, but he was so adamant that he did not listen to his parents and went on to become part to military training camp. He had always said, "My country, my pride," and never turned back. Josh's parents, though, were always proud of their son taking such a major step. Still, somewhere, were scared of the difficulties an army man had to face. They have to leave behind their homes and stand at borders in all climatic conditions. Not only this, they had to fight a war, which itself is too much. However, Marino had no clue that his parents' worst fears would come true, and he would be suffering the harsh. Life won't be as easy as assumed to be. Rather, Josh's life will turn a 180 after being a part of the army, and when the world would come shattering to him, he would find the unbelievable amidst the bushes. After constant training, it was finally in the year 2007 that Josh was deployed in Baghdad, that was the Iraqi capital. He was one of those lucky survivors who fought the Iraq War and headed back to home, the US, safely. But this journey wasn't a cakewalk. He had to go through a lot. It would have only been 3 months into the war that while returning to the base camp, Josh was attacked. An explosion took place on the other side of the wall, but the impact was so high that Josh had rocks hitting him hard. He ran to save himself, but it was quite late, and he suffered an injury that somewhere had impacted all his life. Josh tried his best to reach the concrete bunker, but before he could do so, a huge rock had given him a severe brain injury. His situation initially was critical, but as they say, soldiers fight all the odds, and Josh battled it with it as well. While people thought that he was all fit now, none really knew that it was only temporary relief. Josh Marino was immediately sent to the boot camp hospital. His head injury, though, recovered after days. None could sense how that had impacted this war veteran. Things weren't as good as they appeared. Later, in a report, Marino said, "In the Army, if you don't look like you're injured, there must not be anything wrong." Josh Marino did his part in Iraq War, and in the year 2008, he returned to FT Riley in Kansas. However, by now Josh was sure that something was terribly wrong with him. His head would ache and he somewhere had some anxiety kind of feels. Things were really wrong, and soon when they'll unfold, life would not be like this anymore. Josh was one of the prey to post-traumatic stress disorder. After every war, he would be hit with trauma. The trauma caused due to witnessing the widespread devastation and damage caused by war. It was a disorder that changed his life in such a dramatic way that he seems to approach his near end. It is a sad realization that post-traumatic stress disorder is a health condition that a majority of our soldiers and army men have to face. The men have witnessed and been a part of war that had taken the lives of many. Though while on border fighting for the nation they portray their bravery, the after effects are something that has a major effect on them. It causes incredible suffering even after the guns have become silent, says Josh. Josh recalled, "A lot of us come home without realizing we are bringing the war home with us." Things were getting difficult for Josh. Iraq war had adversely affected his mental health. He had feelings of anxiousness, guilt, fear ruling all over him. And then, one particular day, the unimaginable took place. Josh's memory faded away. He woke up and slept. He isolated himself from his family members and started living with his problems all by himself. And when he could not bear it, he took the toughest call. What was the brave, yet a little broken soldier up to? Marino was under so much pain and suffering. He was distressed. For him, he had nothing left in life which was worth living for. His passion to serve the country somewhere turned out into a nightmare. His parents always feared this, and unfortunately, this was all happening to their son. That night, Marino wrote his last letter to the world. He quits, and then Josh wrote his heart out on the letter and was ready to bid farewell to this world. He bought a knife and took a lighter. Before he bid goodbye, he wanted to smoke his last cigarette. And when he went to do so, he heard some noises from the bushes. Josh was almost done with his last smoke when he heard the rustling sound from the bushes. First, he thought he was hallucinating, but the next thing he saw had him astonished. Josh did not know then how this thing will change his life forever. Rather, this is what will give him another life. What Josh feels next is a warm fur type of a thing near his feet, as if something was rubbing against his foot. Initially, he was scared to feel something unknown like this, but when he has a closer look at it, all his fears turn into a big smile. He whispers, "How adorable." Josh was surprised to find a white and black cat rubbing her fur against Josh's foot. She was cute and even stared deep into his eyes. She looked at the broken soldier and wagged her tail. The sight brought the brave man to tears. The kindness that the cat was depicting through her actions made the veteran weak. Josh recalls that the scene was so blissful, as if the kitty knew that something was bothering him and something wasn't right. Just the light stroke and tuft from the cat's paws changed the man's thoughts. How? In Josh's words, the touch of the cat was enough to make him feel as if someone is still there who cares about him, someone who could understand the emotions that Josh was facing. Josh says, "The moment I saw her, I forgot about all my problems and was wondering how could I help this cat with her problems." Josh and the kitty had some sort of instant bonding, as if they both were lost in their lives just to come across each other. They both found solace in just each other's presence beside them. Josh forgot about what he came out to do. The kitty had done her magic. She unknowingly saved his life. The calmness this cat got with her in the chaotic life of the veteran compelled him to pet her. Josh started to feel happy with her, and the very first thought he had was to pet her. He found a new purpose in life, a new meaning, someone for whom he could live and look up to the next day. Marino dumped his desire of giving up in life. He started with a new life, all because of this feline. He daily kept a plate full of tuna fishes near the bushes to feed her cat. He enjoyed seeing how the cat would turn up there every day and cherish the meal. Yet, this wasn't all. Josh named this new friend of him as Scout. The cat would jump and sit in Josh's lap. What connected these two all of a sudden was a surprise, but all one can be sure of is that the animals have a positive impact on humans. There are the ones who can reciprocate the emotions, but one odd day something unexpected happened. Josh started living a happy life. He slept and ate properly and followed a disciplined schedule now. All thanks to this cat, his Scout, who did wonders for him. And as things turned better, he even found the love of his life. But suddenly Scout disappeared. Josh was distressed, but he knew he had to do good all for Scout. Josh started dating a girl named Becky, who was from the same school as him. He remembered having known her in high school. And this time, as they started hanging out, he realized that this was something more than just friendship. However, Josh had never thought that Becky would bring with her a surprise. After a few months of dating Becky, the duo went to an adoption house to adopt a cat. And there Josh received the biggest surprise of his life. A cat stuck a leg and placed her paws over Josh's arm. And with that touch, Josh realized that it was no other than her dear Scout that suddenly disappeared. Josh went back to Pittsburgh with Becky. He started with a new life there. They shifted into a new house where Scout was joined by 3 other cats that Becky owned. They were a happy family now. But things did not end here. A lot more was in store for him. Josh went back to his college. The education he left midway to join the army, he thought of completing it and having a degree. Probably this will fetch him a good job that could provide him with sufficient resources to look after his family. Scout had changed Marino's life in unbelievable ways. Not only he got a reason to live, but he also made tremendous changes in his lifestyle. He started eating healthy and also followed a physical exercising pattern. And one of the best changes being Marino was trying to quit smoking. As life turned better for Josh, as he began to cherish and value life, an unfortunate event yet again hits home. Scout was acting sluggish for a few days and Josh took him to a vet, and the cat was diagnosed with feline leukemia. Josh had his heart in his mouth. And as a few days passed, Scout bid farewell to this world. Josh was in extreme pain. The cat who gave him another life today was not with him. He was broken, but this time he did not give up, because that's what the kitty had told him and stopped him from doing. He knew he had to live his best life only for Scout. This is a short film made of the life of Josh and Scout. Listen from Josh how his days have changed since the day the cat entered his life. Their relationship is the most beautiful one you'll ever witness.